G'day guys, welcome back. My name is Wildkard. Yes, I'm going to have a little bit of rant at the beginning of this video, so be warned. But I think we all know, we've all know for a long time now that the Nations Championship is happening in a couple of weeks' time. 4th of July, the kickoff, Independence Day, right? And we've all been hearing about this many years in advance that this is happening, right? They told us this is going to be a mini Rugby World Cup, right? North versus South. Finally determine who's going to be the best, side of rugby, right? I thought when we eliminated, right, all the Northerners from the Rugby World Cup final, we won that battle. But apparently, World Rugby wants to make some more money, which I am happy. I like to make money, right? And so they have this other little mini World Cup that happens once every 4 years as well, right? Despite the many years of advanced warning and planning, somehow the top 14 goes, hey guys, we have a conflict of scheduling here. Believe it or not, the top 14 final is happening this weekend. And the players that are involved, which basically our best players, are not going to be allowed to play in the first round of the Nations Championship. Not just the French players, but the players that, from Argentina and stuff are not going to be allowed to play either, right? So, I've had this rant before. I think this is fucking disgraceful. I don't care what the pundits say. Player welfare. They really care about the player welfare, guys. If they care about player welfare, then cut the fucking season short by 6 weeks. Like everybody else. Play 18 rounds. It's not that hard. You really care about your players? Cut the season short. Right? So you obviously don't care about your player welfare. You just care about maximizing profit. And you know what? At the cost of us down here in the Southern Hemisphere, right? Because when your shitty B team comes over, right, we can't get as much TV rights. We can't sell the ads to the highest possible price. We can't get the sell tickets and fill out the stadiums as much as we could. Which means we don't make as much money as we could to subsidize top 14. And guess what? When we go to Europe, right, in November, we're going to bring the best of our All Blacks. We're going to bring the best of the Springboks. We're going to bring the best of the Wallabies. And you're going to make as much money as you possibly can selling our stadiums. And you get to profit max whilst we just gotta pretend that your B team is doing a great job. I don't give a shit about your B team. I care about the financial stability and the viability of the sport in this part of the world. And it's disgraceful. You had years in advance warning that this is happening. And you still can't get it right. Not only that the Argentinian players can play, but you're just gonna say Anton Dupont's probably not gonna play at all. He's not in the squad. He might. The speculation is he might come along for the tour, right? He's not definitely allowed to play the first game because player welfare, guys, player welfare, right? Oh, fuck, we'll care about players. Whoa. If you seriously go to all stats and look up the French players. Look at how many games these people fucking play. Look at how many games Anton Dupont play. Almost 30 games every year. And then you go have a look at an average player, right? Not just average, but like a top player from the Springboks, top player from the All Blacks. 22 games maximum per year. The top 14 absolutely runs their players to the ground. And they tell you we care about our players. That's why he's taking a break. And let me tell you, Dupont's going to come over, right? He's going to maybe play in the second test against the Wallabies. He may just be a tourist and pretend that he's going to be around. And they might even come up with an excuse like, oh, his legs, hamstrings are feeling a bit tight or something. And just be like, we tried. He couldn't play. It is disgraceful. It is disgraceful. And let me tell you, doesn't matter how hard you try. Doesn't matter. You're not going to win the World Cup. You're not. You have a team that hardly plays together. And I feel sorry for Galtier, to be honest. Galtier is a great coach. You know what he has to do? he has to drop Penald and the Six Nations to give him a break. That was implied when he was dropped from the Six Nations that he was going to get a break. And to call him up for this July Test series and dropping BL Bieri instead. So BL Bieri, literally like player of the year or something in the Six Nations, dropped. Not allowed to play. Because top 14, got to give him a break. Yeah. It is a joke. It is a fucking joke. Anyway, moving on. So the Springboks had their first, I guess, exhibition game against the Barbarians on the weekend. You know, I initially I want to do a review for this game, but after watching the game, I really don't know what to say because there were points where I thought, you know, surely the team's not going to play like this against the England. And there were times the team looked really brilliant. But, you know, just a quick couple things, you know, I don't want to criticize anything because I'm pretty sure that the team wasn't, you know, giving it 100%, you know, because they don't want to get injured and because they want to manage fatigue. And, you know, it's just a fun game. They don't want to completely, you know, take it away too seriously. So there were mistakes obviously being made as a result of this. But you know what was interesting? They had Q1 Horn at 10. And then I was thinking that they're going to play like a playmaker out of the 9 jersey from Grant Williams. Didn't see that, which I don't know if it's like, again, they could just be hiding it. I'm a little bit surprised because I really thought they were going to do that. And then they obviously had Q1 Horn the first time playing a fly half for the Springboks. And then seems to me like, you know, the scrum was still pretty good. But, you know, it's against the Barbarian team. And then the somehow the defense in the outside channels, Esthazen at 12, Jesse Crew at 13. I did not expect there to be defensive issues out wide, but there was a few tries as a result of defensive issues. Again, I just think that maybe they're just managing their fatigue levels, whatnot. But yeah, so I really don't know what to take of this. I don't want to say this was a bad game or this was a great game because it is. I don't think that, you know, the teams were. I don't think the Springboks wants to reveal a lot of their strategy before England actually comes to town. So there was a little bit interesting thing where Cheslin Kobe was kicking goals, which is interesting, and he's been kicking in Japan and he did okay. I think I would say like a B+ or something. I think he got most of them. Couple misses from the sideline. But yeah, overall, this was a nice win. 70 points to, 80 points to 31. I thought it was 70, 81-31. But at halftime, the Barbarians actually caught up quite a bit. Got pretty close. But yeah, it is quite interesting, just to say the least. The one thing from the Barbarians, I thought the, what's his name? TJ Perenara was just giving it to the referee the whole game. You can hear it from the mic. He called the Springboks disgraceful, wasting time. Like, you're losing like 50 points to like 30 at that point, like 60 points to 30. And he's calling the Springboks, you know, disgraceful for having people getting injured on the ground. I thought that was pretty rude from TJ Perenara. But yeah, and the referee was really patient with him. I thought the referee was going to send him off at one point, but no, he didn't. So obviously the URC happened and the Bulls lost pretty badly, and Handre Pollard 2 weeks in a row now at least had a pretty bad week, and there was a lot of criticism levied out against him. And I think Razi basically came out and said, you know, as always, he's not going to put his own player, push him, in front of a train, so to speak, and backed him and saying that we know what Handre can do and we can bring him in when we need them. But, my concern for Handre is that he is the sharpshooter, and then, he does deliver when time is tough. But his goal kicking from the round before against Glasgow wasn't that great. So, yeah, I am not 100% sure how much involvement he's going to get. I'll be very surprised if he gets selected to start against England. But hey, prove me wrong. He might come off the bench against England, but I just think that if he actually gets a start against England, boy, there's going to be some pretty interesting strategy we're going to see. The one interesting thing I was going to say about the Bulls strategy is very similar to the Springbok strategy that the Rassi likes. It's not the Springbok strategy, maybe from like 2023 Rugby World Cup, and it's just wasn't clinical enough. So it just shows like the skill level that is required to actually execute the strategy. It's not as easy as you think. A lot of teams try to imitate the Springbok strategy. I see that here in Australian rugby sides. Just not, it's not that easily to be executed despite having so many Springboks in their team, including Handre Pollard. The Bulls wasn't able to pull off what Razi was able to pull off at the Rugby World Cup with pretty much a similar strategy of forward dominance and, a lot of up and under kicking game, right? A couple interesting selections for the Springboks. So Faf de Klerk was actually like not part of the team, and then he got called back in to play against the Barbarians. So I don't know, he's back in the team now or something, I guess. But Rassi has completely updated his team. 46-player squad for the November, for the July, series. It's quite a big squad. That's quite a big number. I don't think you can bring that many people for the Rugby World Cup. I think like 36 is the max for the Rugby World Cup. But then again, this is quite a big team. So they obviously added all the URC players, and then there was URC players, final players from the Bulls, and then they added, there was still 6 potential debutants in the team as well. So it just quickly goes through the Springboks team. Coming in at props, we got Thomas Tutoy, Wilco Low, and Kuthu Mchunu. I'm looking forward for him to score a try, to be honest. He's been pretty good for the Stormers as a ball runner. Ox Inche, Zachary Portham, Carlo Sadie, Hergastinekamp, and Bowen Fanta. The hookers, we got Johan Huebler, we got Malcolm Marks, and Andre Hugo Venter. And the locks, we got Luke Diacha, Eben Esbeth comes back, Ron Nokia, and Ruben van Gierden. Coming out of loose forwards, we got Paul de Villiers, Ben Jackson, who is a potential debutant. Did he debut on the weekend? I think he does that count as a debut again for the Springboks against. Anyway, I think he played. Did he? Anyway, someone will let me know. Ben Jackson Dixon, Cameron Hanekom, Sia Khaleesi, Evan Ruiz, Vincent Shituka, and then we got Jasper, the headbutt machine. Visa comes in for the loose forwards. In the back, in the utility forwards, we got Peter Sepp Dutoy, Franco Mostert, Riley Norton, Marco van Staden, Jan Hendrik Vessels, and Kobus Visa. So Peter Sepp Dutoy, as far as I know, he hasn't played too much rugby outside of the test match. So last week was probably like, I don't know, he's been inactive for quite some time. It'll be interesting to see if he probably will get the start for the Springboks against England. We'll see how Rassi, thinks about his role in the Springboks. Comes in for the scrum halves now. We've got Ambrose Papia, who hasn't played for the Springboks since 2018. He's back. And I thought, again, just the style of rugby that he was showing, just the box kicks. He's got a pretty good boot, to be honest. And I feel like one of the problems with the Bulls is they're over-relying him on his boot. But then, when it comes to the fly half now, halfback nowadays, you want it to be more than just the box kicker, especially in the way that the game has evolved. So it'll be interesting to see his involvement and how Russ is going to engage him in the Springboks. Herschel Yangshis, Kobus Reinach, and Grant Williams are all pretty good ball runners, in my opinion. Fly halves, we've got Man in the Bok, Visu Moyo, and then we've got Handre Pollard with Sasha still not available. Coming in at centers, we've got Damien Dialendi, Andre Esterhuizen, and Jesse Creel. I'll be interesting to see if Esterhuizen is going to move back to the blindside flanker, open side flanker at some point, or is he just going to be, definitely just center cover for now? Because he played for the Stormers as a center. He hasn't really played as for the Stormers at 7, I don't believe. But let me know. So it will be interesting to see if Andre is going to get pushed to the forwards again at some point. In the utility backs, we've got Kurti Arensa, we've got Apalele Fassi, we've got Q1 Horn, we've got Cheslin Kobe, we've got Kana Moody, Edville van der Merwe, we've got Jaco Williams, and Damien, the greatest Springbok of all time, Willemse comes in for the utility back. But yeah, it is an interesting team, and I just feel like if they play, basically the Bulls style of rugby against England, I think that's going to be a close one. I think that'll be really close. You know, you're going to be sweating a little bit in that setup. But you know, from based on my understanding of how Rasmus likes to operate, he's a risk taker, and he likes to push forward with different styles. And I would not be surprised we were going to see a completely different style against England. And Pollard, the Pollard, you know, 2023 Rugby World Cup style is going to be put in the vault. But let me know your thoughts on the Springboks team. So the All Blacks have announced their team as well. One of the big things that they talk about with their selection is just how tight it is. There were some big names missed out. Karefi, we've got Rico Ioane, who just won the URC with Leinster, has missed out. Yeah, just so stacked with the All Blacks. And then, you know, one of the things that the coaches talked about, you know, 2IC second in charge, is basically they wanted to move, you know, find a different style of rugby, like the New Zealand style of rugby again, and move more about like a ball carrying skill sets, focus on the ball carrying skill sets than just like, physicality, like the Springbok style of rugby, right? So that's one of the shifts that they're looking at, and as a result of that, the selection has been, I think, very, very good. The one weakness of the All Black selection is the number 6 jersey. It's very hard to pick someone for the 6 jersey because they lack a bit of height, in my opinion, in the jumping options. And then if you have Ardie Savea, who is the captain, and then Peter Larkai at number 8, Ardie Savea at 7, you really struggle to find someone tall at 6. And I thought Semipeni Finau was going to make it, but he didn't. So it looks like maybe Simon Parker is going to be number 6. But I think 6 is the weakest position for the All Blacks right now. And I think they really want to get someone like Shannon Frizzell back, or maybe even Brody Retallick back at lock. So yeah, but other than that, I think the Springbok, I think this All Blacks team is absolutely stacked overall. So coming to hookers, we've got Asafo Amua, Cody Taylor, and Samasani Taukiaho. I think that, you know, I've made a team for the All Blacks. Go have a look at that. I think that's starting 23. The props for the All Blacks: Ethan de Groot, George Bauer, Xavier Numia, debutant. He's been outstanding for Hurricanes. I would not be surprised if he gets his starts ahead of Ethan de Groot, or at least on the bench. Tyrell Lomax and Fletcher New and Pasilio Tossi also has been great for the Hurricanes. Yeah, I would not be surprised if the Hurricanes props gets the start for the All Blacks. We've got Tupavai, Patrick Tupolotu, Josh Lord, and Sam Darrell for the locks. Yeah, it is. You know, you could potentially put, I mean, Tupavai at 6 and have like Josh Lord and Patrick Tupolotu. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. You know, the Blues locks here aren't that great. To be really frank with you, and it is a shame that Warner Dern isn't available because he plays for Japan, because he's best lock by far in Super Rugby. But he's a captain of Japan. But yeah, this is going to be a tough one for the All Blacks to sort that out. And, you know, with Scotty Barrett as well, not quite 100% from injury. So this is what we're going to deal with. Yeah, this is going to be a big problem, I think, especially against the Springboks coming up. In the loose forwards, we've got Peter Larkai, Simon Parker. I think that's probably what they're thinking at, going in the blind side. Ardie Savea has got the captaincy, and he'll be probably at number 7. Wallace Atiti, Luke Jacobson, and then Anton Segner gets the nod as a debutant who's been really good for the Blues. In the halfbacks, we've got Cameron Roigard, Cortez Latimer, and Kyle Preston. Roigard is by far the best number 9 in the world, in my opinion. Yeah, I think he's better than Dupont. Cortez Latimer has, you know, second up for the Chiefs. Interesting that Kyle Preston got selected. Right. So he's the one that missed out. But anyway, I get these two guys confused. I get their names confused. But so he's the one that missed out, who's actually the starting number 9 for the Crusaders, not Rayhana. Okay, so that's that. I get these two names mixed up. That's why I have to kind of like take a look. But yeah, so he's the starting 9 and he missed out. And the reserve 9 got the call up, Kyle Preston from the Crusaders. So there you go, guys. For the first 5, we got Ruben Love, and I'll be very surprised if he doesn't get to start for the All Blacks. Bowden Barrett and then Damien McKenzie. One of them will be on the bench at number 23 jersey. Midfielders, we've got Geordie Barrett, who's been outstanding this season. Quinn Tupaia, outstanding as well for the season, but they both played 12. And then Billy Proctor has been great as a partnership with Geordie Barrett, and Anton Leonard-Brown will be finished off with the Chiefs as midfielders. On the outside backs with Caleb Clark as expected, and then Fihi Fianganofo. There's some really interesting talk about him because he has signed a contract to go overseas into the Red Bulls in England, and he's basically initially suspected that he wasn't going to get selected because of that, but Dave Rennie has selected him because his contract still valid till November, and he has fulfilled the requirements to be selected for the All Blacks, so they will select him as much as they could. He's one of the most outstanding players in the Super Rugby this season, and so interesting, like a lot, thoughts here for the All Blacks, right? Number one, if he chooses to go overseas, they give him a couple of test caps that he gets locked in for the All Blacks for 3 years, so that he's not going to be able to go play for Tonga or something at the Rugby World Cup. So they lock him in, and also there's a chance that the contract fizzles between him and the Red Bulls, and then he stays in New Zealand, which I don't think is likely. I think he's signed a contract that he has to go. New Zealand has to buy him out. I don't think New Zealand Rugby will do that, and I don't think Red Bull will just like fizzle the contract. But it is, in terms of in terms of the money that he's gonna make, right? Obviously, initially he's gonna make more money at the Red Bulls if he wasn't selected for the All Blacks. Now the fact that he's selected for the All Blacks, he's gonna make same amount of money, if not more, than he would going to the Red Bull. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But my speculation is that he has to go. Like, the Red Bulls are not gonna just let the contract fizzle, and I don't think New Zealand Rugby is gonna pay out his contract. That's my speculation, but we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens. So yeah, interesting there. Leroy Carter comes in next, and then we got Josh Morby. Again, outstanding since returning to New Zealand Rugby. Both the Morby and Fihi Fianganofo has levels in most tries scored for Super Rugby of all time. They're both ranked number one with 18 tries, I think. Absolutely outstanding this season. So both of them, I think, looking for a massive step up. And Will Jordan, been one of the best players for the Crusaders when he's not injured, and obviously a long-term All Black now will be coming in at potentially fullback position. So yeah, here is some interesting stuff. Jamie Hanna joined the squad to cover for Tupavai. Okay, so Tupavai still has the concussion protocol, so he won't be playing against the French. Tamati Williams, Scotty Barrett, Fabian Holland, Lester Fianganofo are all injured. Fabian Holland, I thought it was available to go, but apparently not yet. So when he comes back, that'll add a big bonus to the All Blacks backline. The number 6 problem, the lock number 6 problem will be addressed quite a bit when he comes back. We're talking about Fihi here. Let's move on. So Argentina as well. We're going to talk about some of the issues that the players that are playing the French finals are not able to play. The big name that mixed out is Thomas Lavanini and the Gonzalo Bertrano. Both missed out from the selections, but everything else seems pretty standard for the Argentinians. Some big injuries as well. I think one of the big ones is Gajo is injured. There's a few injuries for the Argentina team. You can go have a look at it yourself. Some big names that's injured. Gajo, I think. Bofelli. Gajo, Thomas Gajo. Juan Martin Gonzalez. Gardona injured as well. Juan Cruz Malia injured. Oh my God, that's a huge injury list. Pedro Rubiolo, that's Joe Scarvi. Oh my God, that is a huge injury list. My goodness. That is scary. How many people? Emiliano Bofelli injured as well. That's a huge injury list for the Argentinians. So David Havili is going to Japan to finish off his run with the Crusaders. Moving on, Hugh Jones is going overseas to Toulon for the French to make more money. And New Zealand Rugby has had a new guy. I think we care for the corporate structure. So yeah, the Hurricanes on the weekend absolutely flogged the Chiefs 60 points to 5. The Chiefs flogged the Crusaders in the semifinals, so the Hurricanes absolutely dominated this. It was very windy, just an absolute masterclass of rugby displayed by the Hurricanes on the weekend. It was one of the best teams I've ever seen in my life for club rugby. We're going to talk about the Bulls. The Chiefs went down to the Northampton Saints at Twickenham. This was, I did watch this game. I don't know what to say about this one. It wasn't too big of a scoreline. 26-17. Henry Slade had a bit of a kicking issue, goal kicking issue, but it was. I think the outside backs just be too much. The Saints played a similar style to the French, where they will send the ball outside and kick it down, and with using the speed to kind of like pressure the opposition. Ikitau and I think Ikitau and Tom Hooper were the two best players for the Chiefs. But it is what it is. One of the interesting things that the Premiership are going to do next year is have a neutral venue going for the finals instead of like you get the home final if you win the season, so to speak, which will be a bit of a shuffle up there. Will Harrison will be moving from Japan, who formerly playing for the Waratahs, to play for Munster. It will be a nice addition there. Moana Pacifica has been officially kicked out of Super Rugby. There was some talk of consortium that's going to buy them out, but they didn't. The running costs are too high. They're basically down 10 million in terms of revenue. You're sinking 10 million every year to run this team. It's quite a lot. So not sustainable for anyone to want to take that over. So they've gone. The Wallabies, I have another video about this. So the Wallabies, you can go have a look at it if you want. And maybe just quickly go through it. There's not too much to talk about. I had a bit of rants. You can talk about that. But Lukam Salakaloto didn't make it. And the Wallabies got some big returns. So let's just quickly go through them. Ala Alatoa from the Brumbies. Miles Amatasero, who's been pretty good for the Waratahs, in my opinion. He's been called up for the Wallabies. Angus Bell, returning from Ulster, who's been... Is it Ulster? Yeah, Ulster, who's been outstanding. Was it Ulster? Anyway, I think it's Ulster. Charlie Cale getting called up. George Canham gets a nod as well. We've got Nick Champion de Cribney. I don't think de Cribney is better than Lukam Salakaloto, but Joe Schmidt said that Salakaloto is a bit too slow in terms of the jump. So, I thought that's a pretty tough call considering how much work he does around the park. Tom Hooper comes back as one of the, Ghetto Law returns. Fraser McWright, Josh Naser, Zan Nongor, Brendan Panga-Amosa, Billy Pollard, Aiden Ross, Lockie Shaw gets a nod there from the Reds. From the Brumbies. Jem Slipper comes back to cover number 1 jersey. Carlo Tazzano, Tanel Tupou comes back from Racing. We've got Rob Valentini, Jeremy Williams, Harry Wilson finish off as the captain. Jock Campbell for the backs. Filippo Delgunu, Ben Donaldson, Josh Fluke, Carter Gordon, Len Ikitau returns from overseas as well. He's only got a sabbatical, so he's back at the Brumbies next season. Max Jorgensen, Ryan Lonergan. We've got Tate McDermott, Declan Meredith, Hunter Paisami, Dylan Peach, Harry Potter. We've got Joseph Akususwali'i, Kalani Thomas. We've got Corey Toole and Tom Wright to finish off for the full team. Not too bad of a team. Only consider problem, I think, is a hooker. I think the line out Panga-Amosa is probably the best one in terms of consistency. The number 10 is also a bit of an issue, I think. You got Carter Gordon, not really kicking that many goals this season. So you're going to have to start Lonergan with Gordon. It's a bit of a conundrum there. I think it may be a bit of a clash of style there as well. But we'll see how they select the team. A few injuries that's not available. Will Skelton injured as well. Pretty big loss for the Wallabies there. But you can have a look at that if you want. Anyway, that's the news for this week. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And have a good one. I'm going to take a break this week. And then next week, we're going to go full speed ahead for the July Test Series. North versus South. And thank you for watching. Cheers.